Recently while browsing eBay, I came across something that I honestly thought I already had in my collection. Turns out I had the first game, so I proceeded to buy the Capcom Classics Collection Volume 2. Much like the first volume, this collection packs in a bunch of great games. You got things like 1941, Captain Commando, even Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. But there was one game on here that took my interest instantly, and that's Quiz and Dragons. For some random reason, I own quite a few Japanese quiz games, and unsurprisingly, struggled to play them due to the language barrier. So when I saw this was on this collection, I thought I'd give it a go. The setup is super simple. You just choose one of 4 characters that each have their own special abilities, and then you go onto the actual game board. Here the computer rolls a dice for you, and whichever number it lands on, you move that many spaces. Depending on the space, you'll either battle an enemy, go to the inn, or fight an elf. And when I say fight, what actually happens is you take part in a quiz. Now considering that this game actually came out in 1992, it also means that a lot of the questions are either going to be tied to around the time then, or going to be even further back. I mean, the manual even states that some of the questions and answers might not be valid considering times have changed in the last 14 plus years. When playing this game, you must try to think of what the answer would have been in 1992. Well, to be honest, that doesn't really help me because I don't know what the answers are to begin with, regardless of what year I'm actually in. So it only took 1 or 2 rounds of losing for my interest to completely disappear. However, it wasn't until I was back on the main menu that I noticed something on the extras menu. Upon pressing circle, this time you actually get a different version of Quiz and Dragons. And this time, it's probably one of the best quiz games I've ever played. This version instead is Capcom Quiz and Dragons, and every single question is about Capcom itself and its history. So while I couldn't name who wrote Catcher in the Rye, or what year some other random president was alive to do something I've never even heard about, you ask me about a Capcom game, I'm probably going to give you the right answer. The first time I played this was for about an hour straight, as I was completely engrossed in trying to answer every single question correctly. Now obviously depending on your level of knowledge, some of these questions are super simple. And unsurprisingly, there's also some that are so vague and obscure that I don't know how anyone would know the answer to them. Honestly, there's not that much to say about this game then. I mean, it is just a quiz game. The graphics are rather nice and colourful, the sprite work for the enemies do look rather cool, though it is just quite obvious that they just swap heads around and just reuse the same sprites, and it does take quite a while to get through. You do have unlimited continues, but I like the idea of playing this with a limited amount instead. There's only really 2 negatives I could give this game. One is the fact that the music gets incredibly irritating after playing it for so long. The second is a negative, but it is not as bad as the first one. After a while you will notice that the questions will start to repeat themselves. In one way it's kinda handy because if you can remember what the answer was if you got the question wrong before, then at least this time you can get it right. On the other hand, it's pretty dumb to have the same question asked twice in a row. Overall though, I've actually learnt a few things that I didn't know before about certain Capcom games. The chances of any of this information actually being useful outside the game though is pretty low, but I always find it fun to test your knowledge on subjects you enjoy. You can play this one 2-player as well, so if you wanted to try your knowledge against someone else, you're at least able to do that. And depending on how good your knowledge is, this could take anywhere from an hour upwards. Compared to everything else that's on this disc, this is easily my favourite game on here. So I'm glad that I actually ended up buying it, because I didn't even know this was something that was included, and I'm not sure a lot of people do either. Either which way, if you're looking to pick this up because it has a bunch of great games on here already, then definitely do give this a try, it's a right laugh. Anyways, I've been Tom from VPG Gaming, thanks for watching and have a great gaming day.